You're watching the Fox 5 Morning News at 9.
The pandemic has led to many couples getting divorced. Divorce lawyer Bonnie Rabinovich Mantel joining us now with why more couples are deciding to just call it quits. Good morning.
Good morning, Shally. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you for being here. This is pretty interesting. There was a huge spike in divorces. This was both in China and Japan during these stay-at-home orders. I think those who may be married could guess why there is a spike in divorce during this pandemic time. What have you seen as far as the trends go here in San Diego?
Well, you know, that's a really interesting question. You would think with common sense that people who are already on the brink of a bad relationship having to stay together for months would push them over the edge. But unfortunately, we don't have any hard and fast data. I can tell you that what we're seeing at Primus Family Law Group is there's definitely been an uptick in domestic violence filings. And in the last month to 6 weeks, we have seen a ramp up of new calls coming in asking, you know, their rights and what they can expect.
What's the most common reason? I mean, there's always trouble in marriages, challenges in marriages, and people fight through it. Why is the pandemic changing that and bringing people to come to the decision to have a divorce?
Well, you know, the three most common things we're hearing is A, you know, they're already on the brink, so having to stay together, like I just said, has pushed them over that edge. But there's also financial issues. Most couples, you know, have issues with finances. But with this pandemic, if one of them has lost their job or if two of them have lost their job, that adds even more stress. And then you have, like you were saying before, your children home all the time. So not only are you trying to be a working person and a parent, but now you've also got to be a babysitter and a teacher. That causes so much more stress on couples that if you're at the edge, you're now over the edge.
Yeah, and if you're at the edge and you have those stress, couples will often find themselves in these situations where they take that stress out on their significant other just because it's just a very stressful situation in the home. Historically, tax day is a very popular day, I didn't know this, to file for divorce because people get their tax return. Really?
Yes, absolutely, because I'm sure you know that when you're hiring an attorney, most of them require some sort of retainer, and that tends to be easier to do when you get a refund. So yeah, we're seeing the same trend this year.
Many local kids are going to be learning home from fall. We had the announcement from San Diego Unified saying that they will at least start the program, school, come fall. Is she still there? Did we lose? No, she's right there.
No, you
I
didn't.
got you.
Sorry.
Okay. How is this going to play too if you're in the middle of a divorce in child custody? Now you have an education of where their home base is going to be for school because they don't have a physical school to go to.
Well, I think the way the courts always do custody is best interests of the children. So now the judges are going to have a few other factors to consider in that. Who's better equipped? Who has the better schedule to stay at home? Some parents still have to go to their work during this pandemic. And those are going to be additional factors that the courts are going to consider in the best interest. Of course, if you already have child custody orders, this pandemic has not changed that. Those orders are still in effect. So parents are expected to take up the slack and help their children learn.
Bonnie, before we let you go, if there is a couple who's watching right now who may be on the brink of a divorce, they're looking at possibly splitting up, what would be your recommendation to them right now? What would you say?
Well, you know, we have as attorneys an ethical obligation to make sure there are no regrets. So if they believe that there's anything they could do to save their marriage, either therapy or life coach or any of those services, I would always say, please go try that first and make sure that a dissolution of your family is, you know, something you're ready to do. If they are ready, they can always reach out to us. We offer a 30-minute free phone consultation so we can allow them to see how we can best help them at Primus Family Law Group.
All right. Bonnie, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe out there.